The lies from the left are starting to catch up with them. A Democratic senator who rallied against Doge chooses silence when asked about FEMA corruption. Illegal immigrant chooses to turn himself over to ICE after threatening to commit crimes. And liberals like Whoopi Goldberg are choosing to attack Elon Musk's son on the air. Yeah, guys, we got some crazy stories today, but let's go ahead and get back to the blatant lies that we've been told throughout the years. Well, Cardi B wasn't even on Trump's radar until the Super Bowl. The commander-in-chief posed for photos with members of quarterback Patrick Mahomes' family and even poked fun at tight end Travis Kelce's girlfriend, Taylor Swift, for getting booed by the crowd. Something like how that's what she gets for endorsing Kamala Harris in the presidential election. I mean, Kelce himself said that having the president in the audience would be an honor. A guy who gets paid to get hit in the head for a living actually made way more sense than most Democrats. He said, no matter who the president is, he knows he's excited because it's the biggest game of his life. It's the best country in the world. So that'd be pretty cool. Well, there you go, guys. That's the kind of attitude. I mean, it's not that hard, right?
So, disaster relief, this is a falsehood. Disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's the fact.
Well, the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from local citizens. People from my hometown of Wilmington are driving across the state 6 hours to go to the mountains and help people.
It is bad.
It is the federal government. Why are they out of it?
It is bad there, but my question is about the misinformation, particularly the notion that they are moving money to migrants, to, you say, undocumented migrants, which FEMA says flatly is not true. And if people are not getting correct information, then they can't go for assistance as they have been asked for. I just want to quickly play with Senator Tom Tillis.
Let me just say for 1 second.
Go ahead.
You have migrants being housed in luxury hotels in New York City. We have paid so much money from our tax dollars into the crisis that didn't need to happen. We could redirect money to help people immediately on the ground in North Carolina.
Not only are Democrats delusional, but they're also dangerous. So first, there's rapper Cardi B calling out President Trump because, according to her, he ruined her $3,000 shoes at Super Bowl 2025. How in the world did Donald Trump ruin Cardi B's $3,000 shoes? And what brand of shoes cost $3,000? Secret Service made her walk just like the rest of the people. And here I thought shoes were made for walking. Heaven forbid you walk in your $3,000 shoes, right? Now, even more disturbing is the thing that she said. She's demanding the return of her deported uncle as payback. Do you think Cardi B is going to convince Trump to get her deported uncle back? Almost sounds kind of ridiculous.
FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is supposed to help people in emergency situations like floods and hurricanes, is really being shown to be a really dysfunctional organization. And I spoke to Congressman Garrett Graves, who's a former congressman from Louisiana, who called it just a dysfunctional organization that doesn't work. And one of the things he was pointing to were 2 audits that were recently done about the organization by its own umbrella organization. So FEMA is under the auspices of the Department of Homeland Security. And the 2 audits found billions of dollars that is unused. This is controversial because during Hurricane Helene last year in Florida and some of the southeastern states, Alejandro Mayorkas made the point, who was the head of DHS at the time, made the point that FEMA had no more money. And that was really a lie because FEMA was sitting on maybe $8 billion of the unused funds. But the most recent audit that was done, and that was done January 30th, 2025, so just last month, showed that the agency had really mismanaged a lot of its funds during the COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the examples that they talked about was the organization agreeing to give $1.1 billion to a particular state. It did not list the state that it was talking about. So FEMA gave out $1.1 billion with a B to a state without getting the proper vetting. It gave the money based on a sheet of paper with no itemized needs or any kind of report by an engineer or an emergency task force about what the money would be spent on. So this is FEMA's own sort of audit showing that there are some very, things that are very wrong with it. In that same audit, which was how it had used its COVID-19 funds, it talked about mismanaging, again, to the same state, the state we don't know. It talked about mismanaging like $8 billion in funds.
Well, it's too late. We've already heard about the ridiculous DEI money that the USAID has been spending. More recently, they actually uncovered that the Department of Health and Human Services, under everybody's favorite guy, Alejandro Mayorkas, paid $22.6 billion of our tax dollars for grants for migrants, which included cash assistance to buy cars, homes, and even build credit for startup businesses. Now, apparently, this was under his HHS Office of Refugee Resettlement, which, by the way, was the same government office which came under fire last year for having lost track of 32,000 migrant kids in the United States. Now, this latest discovery was by the watchdog organization Open the Books. According to their report, the HHS handed out the high sum to host a nonprofit, effectively acting as a giant magnet for those crossing the U.S. border and claiming asylum. Now, apparently, they've been using taxpayer dollars for all sorts of shenanigans. Yeah, thanks to the HHS, non-governmental groups billed taxpayers for up to $1.7 billion in services, including dollar-for-dollar matching savings plans for cars, homes, college educations or startups, small business loans of up to $15,000, loans to repair credit history of up to $1,500, cultural orientation, emergency housing support, legal assistance, and Medicare. Now, as Open the Book CEO John Hart described it, ORR is part of a troubling trend of using nonprofit groups as ideological proxies. Vast sums are being outsourced to evade accountability and prop up an immoral, exploitative system that is hurtful to both American citizens and people in other countries who are longing for a better way of life. We're talking about migrants from Cuba and Haiti, humanitarian parolees from Afghanistan and Ukraine, special immigrant visa holders from Afghanistan and Iraq, and unaccompanied minors from abroad. They were all eligible for grant programs under HHS. The report concluded that what's clear is that ORR has funded a constellation of NGOs deployed in border states and nationwide who give out aid designated to attract even more migrants. Not anymore. Trump, Musk, and newly confirmed HHS Secretary RFK Jr., they're putting a stop to it. In fact, the whole administration is working together to stop what they're calling the Biden-Mayorkas illegal migration funding machine. Because thanks to President Joe Biden's open border and mass parolee system, millions of illegal aliens entered the U.S. border illegally over the past 4 years. And over the same time frame, Congress granted $31 billion to the Department of Health and Human Services for providing housing, medical, and legal services to these aliens. Now, I think the big reveal here is that Americans have seen the consequences of wide open borders, but even worse is this new discovery of the fact that it was all done with our own money. And so now, finally, Doge is letting the American people in on this thing. You know what I mean? But even more disturbing than that is California Representative Robert Garcia, who said that the Democratic Party now needs to bring actual weapons in the fight for democracy. What is this guy trying to do here? Now, I'm not making this stuff up here, guys. Drop me a comment down below. Y'all let me know if Democrats are crossing the line with these dangerous, violent rhetorics against Trump. Now, of course, we have the clip and everything for you guys, which we'll share later on in this video. But it just goes to show just how Democrats have been they're using this violent rhetoric to protest Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And we all know how that ended up during the campaign in Butler, Pennsylvania, right? And for what purpose exactly? Revenge for taking down the illegal immigration machinery? Because see, the things Trump and Elon Musk have found out about in the Biden administration, they're just downright disgusting. I mean, for one, the Department of Health and Human Services ramped up grants for migrants from 2020 to 2024, which included, get this guys, cash assistance to buy cars, homes, and even credit to start up businesses. All in all, they found taxpayers had to shell out $22.6 billion to give these people all these different things. Now, it's not just that. Apparently, via the Department of Homeland Security, the Biden administration channeled billions of dollars to FEMA, which in turn granted states, cities, and nonprofits money to transport, house, and care for illegal aliens. California Democratic Representative Robert Garcia, he proved so when he said on air that Elon Musk is a D and they should bring actual weapons in their fight against President Donald Trump. Here, watch.
Do you think that calling Elon Musk a is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is. And I think that he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy, for the future of this country, and it's important to push back on the chairperson of this committee.
Now, what did I tell you guys? Democrats are definitely looking like the party to hate more and more each. To think these are the very same people who were spouting nonsense like this to show respect, you have to use their personalized pronouns. Now, I know I've said it before, but it bears repeating, guys. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? There's no better example at the moment than California Representative Robert Garcia. I mean, what kind of elected official actually says that their party needs to bring actual weapons in the fight for democracy? You know what I mean? I mean, really, this guy doesn't seem to be satisfied until he drags his opponent to his level. You know what he went viral for recently? For mocking Doge head Elon Musk during the first House Doge subcommittee hearing. He's actually a member of the subcommittee himself. And the first thing that he did was to display a large picture of Elon Musk, referring to it as a D pic. He wasn't satisfied with just that either. Now, as you guys saw in the clip, Garcia defended his words and said that Americans want him to go further, that what the American public wants is they want to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. Because he said this is an actual fight for democracy, for the future of our country. Now, again, just the latest example of congressional Democrats using increasingly violent rhetoric toward President Donald Trump and now Elon Musk. And you know it's all going to be coming down on their head soon. During a Baltimore rally, Maryland Democratic Representative Kwesi Mfune pushed the idea of a street fight against Doge, saying that this will be a congressional fight, a constitutional fight, a legal fight, and on days like this, it could be a street fight. Now, in January, not too long ago, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries also called for Democrats to fight Trump's agenda legislatively in the courts and, of course, in the streets. Now, honestly, guys, these people, they just don't know when to quit. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you guys agree with me. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tap that notification bell for more in-depth takes like this one. But let's continue because we have a lot more to share. So the prevailing theory, the Democrats, they're fighting so hard against Trump because they don't want their dirty public aired out to the public. We're talking about the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the very same agency whose mission was to help disaster-stricken Americans, not aid illegal aliens. And these people still wonder why they lost and why they're going to continue to do so. Meanwhile, new polling shows what Americans think of Trump's record-setting first 3 weeks. In fact, the president described it as 3 great weeks, perhaps the best ever. Really, it's just Democrats who are living in their alternate America at this point. I mean, just listen to this unhinged rant from Cardi B. Here, watch this.
I'm mad today because, you know, Donald Trump and he was at the Super Bowl today and they was giving us a hard time. Oh my gosh, the Secret Service was not playing in that. The Secret Service was not playing to get in that motherfucking stadium. Oh my God. My shoe. Can you bring me my shoe so I can show them how? There was a part that they stopped. Did they stop? What's that called? They stopped all the little carts and because Trump was there. Look how my shoes. Look at my shoes. She cost me 3 bands.
You know, a part of me thinks that she doesn't understand